Hi, my name's Kathy Miller, and this week we're looking at waterside plants. All waterways have vegetation along the edge. Sometimes they're man-made and it's a very definite hard edge, other times it's natural and the vegetation just bleeds into the river. And depending on the speed of the river, depends on the type of vegetation that might grow in that marginal edge. So following on the vein from previous weeks, we're looking at a different type of Noch miniature laser cut minis. So I've got a diorama. It's looking a bit naff at the moment, really, isn't it? It's just got a couple of things on. And we're going to add in a few more of these to just build up the effect. So this is a Wasserknoterich HO14104. We're going to cut these out and we're going to put them again on the two dioramas. This one's going to get filled with resin so you can see the impact of doing your vegetation before, because you might want it to sit in the water, and then we'll do one on a section where it's going to have the resin's already been done, so there's nothing more to add. So as with previous weeks, you literally go round and you look for the tags. Now these laser cut minis are normally attached in a couple of places, so you just need to find the tags which are on the plants, and once you've done them, the plants just fall away. And it's printed on two sides, so you haven't got a right or a wrong side. You might have a slightly paler or brighter or darker side, and you can have a look. Some of the plants are slightly different, but some of them aren't. And they've done a couple of different sizes, so you've got little and large. Oh, there we go. So that's them cut out. And just like last week in the bulrushes, you take a pin, any old pin, you put your pin through the centre hole which they've laser cut, and you just bend these up. Now if you want, you can sort of angle them a bit more and do a little bit more to them, but that's the basic technique. You can make them slightly more vertical if you want, so you get a slightly more upright plant, or you can make them a bit flatter. The idea is just that they're not completely flat and that they do look a little bit more realistic. But you can bend them obviously once they're glued in place and they become a bit more robust. The ones that I'm going to put into the water, I'm going to make a little bit more vertical so that they're coming straight out. The only thing I'll say is you notice they've got little pinholes in them. Well, that does become quite noticeable when you glue them on. So it's always worth having a little bit of extra scenery to go over the top and to bed them in. Another waterside plant which you can get as a Noch Laser Mini are these water iris. Now I will admit I bought these thinking they were water lilies because they were called Wasserlilien, but not to worry, they're very useful and they're going to add just a splash of colour. So I'm going to do them exactly the same way that I've done all the others. So I'm going to have a sharp X-Acto knife just to cut the tabs which hold them on. There's only a couple on each plant, so you just need to find them. And some in these cases I want to work out where they are. Yes, right at the end of the plant leaf. So there's one. There we go. So that's my water lilies cut out. I'm going to get my pin out. So on this one, where the scenery's going, I'm just going to get my glue, which I've got here, and a cocktail stick, and this is just a normal tacky white glue. I'm just going to put a few little blips in this area. Just put it so you can see it. A few little blips in just to right on the edge, so I can drop these in. So there's one going on. One. I want to try and sort of tie them together, but that easy. I'm just going to dip this one in here into the, oops, oh dear, didn't want you on there, did I? Let's try and just do one of the smaller ones. sometimes wonder whether these smaller ones would do better inside, just to make this a bigger plant like that. We'll see how that looks. And then let's put this one here. Yep, thankfully the glue doesn't really show once it's dry. So there we go. What we'll do when the glue's dry is we'll just make sure everything's going to be vertical and out of the water, because we don't want it to be set in. But if I try and do it now, I'm just going to end up dropping them down. So there we go. I just add a small amount of colour, which can be really useful to brighten up an otherwise quite dull scene. So I do think it's useful to have things like this. On the other hand, if you do them too bright, they just distract from the rest of your layout. So I'd be a little bit careful about putting thousands and thousands of really bright colours in if the rest of your layout's quite I'm going to say a sludgy coloured one. Okay, so that's in the one that's going to get water on it. The other ones are going, just move them to the side, are going on this O-scale diorama. So I'm just literally going to drop these in, and they're going to be a little bit of glue on them, and they're going to be along the water's edge. And because they're already there, they're just going to grow out along the edge. Just put a little one in. Oops, it's done that while I'm sticking to your tweezers moment. Quite sure why, but there we go. There we go. Try and sort of bed them into each other, because plants do grow through each other. That's the important thing, that it looks natural. And one last one along here. There we go. So I've got that lot growing along the edge there. So I'm just going to put a set in. Where should I put them? I'll put a set in amongst this lot somehow, I think. Probably there. And plants do tend to grow in sort of thickets of the same one, but you also will see them merge through. It depends on the plant. That one's going to go there, because I don't really like the fronts of those that much. And I'm going to put a third one. Just probably in the end, out here perhaps. Not so much that you fall down the cliff though. Let's get you wrapped into that one. The one thing that does worry me is you can see the pinpricks at the bottom of these plants. It's just a little bit frustrating, because plants don't really have pinpricks, do they? So what we need to do next is just put some scenery material over to hide these flaws. So I'm using floor grout, my normal favourite, and I'm just going to put it along the edge here. There's already some there, as you can see, from the previous edge that I did. So I'm just going to put it along here, and then I'm going to just use the brush to push it into place in a way that hides all of these. I'm just going to make sure that I've got a bit covering the pinprick in each of these. I don't need it to be too deep around these ones. And it's this one especially that worries me. You can really see that pinprick. And just wipe it off the leaves. So now what I'm going to do is spray it with some, this is IPA and water. It's actually tile grout, so it sets itself quite easily with that. And I'm just going to wipe it off my river because, yeah, I don't want to set my river with any horrible grout moments, and I'll polish it up afterwards. I just don't want it to get caught up too badly. And then, even though it's grout and it sets a little, I'm just going to add some dilute, and this is very dilute white glue, and it will just set everything in place.
So next I poured the resin. If you want to know how to mix it, I've done that on a number of videos and they're linked here. It's simple enough to do, and I've tinted it with a little bit of Tamir olive green just so that it's a little bit murky, because that's the pond effect that I'm after.
So here's the final diorama where we poured the resin in. As you can see, the water knotweed's been covered, perhaps a little too deeply if I'm honest, but the scum I think has really helped tie it in, and it does look like they're growing out of the water, and I'm actually quite pleased with how they look on this particular little section of the diorama. And you can see my iris just poking here. We had a little something I think in there, just a little bit of light relief and a little bit of colour.
Oh, what a pretty plant! Oh, isn't it cute? I love blue plants. It's so cute. It's my favourite colour. Although I'm dressed in red. I didn't get the blue t-shirt. To be honest, nobody got the blue t-shirt, but I was always in blue. And does Scale Cathy survive? What is the huge creature that's dominating over her? Is it evil or is it as good? Tune in next week to find out whether N-Scale Cathy is still with the mini Cathys.
Well, I hope you learned something new today, and do let me know what you thought on the comments below. And if you're enjoying this, then subscribe to me on YouTube. Alternatively, like me on Facebook, Cathy Millett Modelling, or find me on my website, cathymillett.co.uk. See you next week.